Greetings, peeps. I have a very exciting video for you. It was exciting for me as well because I was interviewing an eyewitness to a Sasquatch, full-on, middle of the road, broad daylight, noontime, eyewitness report. Classic, Class A sighting. About 2 miles as the crow flies from where I live. And in an area where I've had another previous person that indicated to me they had been paralleled in the forest. Now, at one point there's a clip where Brandon and Bobby, I want to say that's their names, the two eyewitnesses. Bobby was the eyewitness that saw the initial one. Brandon, his buddy, who lives a few miles away down in Frankfort, has also had encounters, had some giant rocks thrown at him. Between 50 and 100 pound rocks. And some other things. He said he was, pushed out of the forest a couple times. When I first met Bobby, in fact, it's both of them, very polite young men. They seemed straight up honest, like they weren't pulling any shenanigans. And a couple times I would mention things that I knew were classic Sasquatch behavior, and during one of these things when I asked him, and a couple times actually during the interview, Bobby would get goosebumps. Right up that hill.
Whatever it was.
Yeah, you still got goosebumps.
Yeah.
Look at that. Every time you talk about it, you get goosebumps. That's like a lie detector test right there.
Right.
The goosebumps. You ever catch any trout right here?
Out of the pool on the left.
And I made the comment that that's like a lie detector test. Like, I don't think you can fake goosebumps. You get goosebumps because you're telling the truth and something has spooked you. So like I said, they were very nice people, seemed very honest, straightforward. All their details matched, details that I'm aware of. So I feel pretty confident in stating that this was a legit sighting in an area that apparently has got an ongoing history of sightings. So sit back, grab a cup of libation, cup of coffee, whatever you want. It's going to take a while. And I hope you guys enjoy this. I look forward to your feedback. And as always, you're encouraged to leave your comments down below. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. All right, we are recording. I am on location, and we are interviewing some eyewitnesses to a recent Sasquatch event. And you were saying that he spends a lot of time in the forest.
Yes.
Knows this area like the back of his hand.
Yes. Yeah,
And
between the fishing down in the streams, the hunting, the ATV, four-wheeler, dirt bike, snowmobile riding. We spend a lot of time in these woods. And he came down on his bike to get the mail, and he happened to just stop in the middle of the road for some reason and looked down the road, and
It was like coming out, it was like probably 3 feet off the side of the road. Like it was trying to cross the road, and then it like noticed me.
wow.
And, like, stopped, looked at me straight on, and then casually walked back into the woods.
No shit.
now
Wow.
Like I don't get scared easily. Like I've gone out and coyote hunt at night,
Right.
That's pretty adrenaline rushing
So this
stuff.
happened right here at the end of this driveway?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my
about
gosh.
150 yards down there.
yeah, is where he saw it. But when he came back to tell me what had happened, he walks in, I'm laying in my bed. He walks in, he's like, Mom, something just happened and I don't know how to talk about it. So I'm like, what do you mean? And I could tell like he was freaked out. His body was full of goosebumps.
Like it was that hot day. I was sweating. Every hair was
It was a
risen to
90-degree day, and his eyes were so big, and for hours his eyes just stayed boggled.
What time of the day was this?
Noon,
Right during the middle of the day.
right during the middle of the day.
That is so rare.
Yep.
You are so lucky.
And
I don't feel
know.
lucky.
He does it because like yesterday was the first day he even dared, because his friend was here, to walk down the driveway. Like he's
Wow.
been so freaked out, like just
because there's a stream. The beginning of the fishing season, me and my buddy walked the stream down here, probably 3/4 of a mile that way in the woods, and it goes all the way from the Meadow Road all the way down here.
Right, it comes out at Bald Hill
Right,
Cove. It's
right.
got the little salmon par in it, right?
Yes. And we'll walk that whole stream. We've done it. I've done it multiple times this year.
I've fished it too.
Fishing.
Right.
And we'll catch tons of brookies. And
Yeah, it's a good trout
Right.
stream. Yeah.
Right.
But he was some freaked out.
The good news is, I can tell you, even though there's a lot of, it's sensationalized for people to talk about, you know, the Sasquatch ripping somebody's arms off and beating them to death with their own arms. But the truth of the matter is that, as near as I can tell, there's not a shred of evidence to show that they've ever been harmful to a person. So, you know, they can really scare people because you don't have a box to put it in.
Right.
Like, you're seeing this thing, you're like, well, that's not supposed to be real.
Right, and that's, because we have a neighbor that lives down there, and he's a pretty big guy, and I was like, but he's not like that
Well,
big
that's what I'm saying.
or
Explain to
colored,
him.
and
So what color was it?
it was like a dark brownish, almost black.
Yeah.
And
Probably, it was like thin at the waist. I don't want to say thin because like it wasn't thin,
Right.
but it wasn't big at the waist until it got up to the chest. Then it got bulk.
Right. How tall do you think it was?
If I had to guess, probably double me. Probably,
Double you?
it was, yeah.
Good Lord.
And
So you're talking like 10 feet, 9-10 feet.
Yeah.
Wow.
but what it looked like from where he was standing, so it could have been bigger. Like,
Wow.
we'll walk down so we can just show you, like,
Yeah.
down and see if we see maybe some
But I
footprints
kept like
in the
trying
dirt.
to
Right.
justify myself, like, oh, it's just, no, there's no driveway there. Why would it just walk off into the woods? It's not.
He's been trying to justify.
Wow,
it for
so
years.
cool, man. It's very exciting.
Right. I was on my bike coming to check the mail, and I made it to like, what was it talking about? But I made it to like halfway down, and about where that telephone pole down there is, it was like probably 50 yards past it, just looking at me. Stopped sideways and then turned and looked at me, then walked back off into the woods.
So it came from the right
Yes.
and was crossing, so there's houses there, right?
No, so
Right where it was, there isn't. There's a field that goes up into the
and
woods.
then and that's what we were looking at when we went down there. The spot that you saw it, you'll see like it's a little bit swampy and kind of open behind the line of trees, and then on the other side is a good 10-foot patch of woods that goes up through the houses.
Wow. Wow.
And there's been a number
Did you
of
explain to him of that? So where he thinks he saw it?
Do you mind if you're on camera?
No.
Okay.
Don't
I just want everybody's permission before I
Where
start
he
filming you
saw
guys.
it, the land on the other side is just right into a valley, and that would be any place on this road for something like that to cross. That would be
the spot.
the
Yeah.
most
Yeah.
unseen spot.
Yeah.
It goes straight down into a valley. That's pretty steep.
They're highly intelligent and they're extremely good at not being seen.
Yep.
Which is what I'm telling you, that what you experienced is very rare.
Well, I come down on my bike completely silent, and I made it, like, it stopped me. Like, I was on my bike and I froze. I was like, is that what? And then I saw it walk off into the woods, and I'm like, whoa, okay, that's, like, the grass on the side of the road is, like, waist high, but it was, like, not even to its knees.
Now, that's pretty close. Could you tell if it was a male or female?
I couldn't.
About 10 feet, 9-10 feet, huh?
Tells me youth.
What's that?
It's gotta be a youth. It tells me, I don't know. I just feel a youth around.
10 feet's pretty tall. That's usually 9 or 10 feet are adult males.
Well,
It's variable because they'll get really
yes,
large.
So we've had, in the middle of the night, we've had occurrences where, and my best description is it sounds like a moose hollering.
That was gonna be my next question because you guys live right here. I mean, this thing is
Yeah,
only.
Well, there's a pipeline about
The-
500 yards that way.
Right.
Then there's a power line another 500 yards past the pipeline, and it's all swampy and
Let me tell you something about pipeline and power lines. A lot of people report, some people think that they use them as travel corridors.
Yeah.
A lot of sightings occur fairly close to pipelines or power lines and swamps.
Well,
You went now? No shit.
that's why I brought him along because
Wow.
he's had rocks thrown at him.
Wow.
I've been hunting a lot, hunting squirrels, and you feel like there's something behind you, and then you put some cards into the woods, you can run, you can run, but
Still right there with you.
they're right there with you.
Okay, I'm going to talk to you too.
Yeah, he lives right on the power line.
Yeah. Well, you want to walk down and show me where you think it crossed,
Yeah.
and we'll look in there? I don't know. Well, you can get some weird vibes at that gravel pit, or that graveyard back there.
I've been up in that gravel pit a lot, and just standing up there looking over it all, and walking around like to the other side because the stream runs on the back side of it too. And I fished that and hunted back there, and it just puts off weird vibes all around.
So this really is one of the few places that you could cross and not be in somebody's
Right.
Yeah.
dooryard.
And this guy doesn't live here. He comes in, but it only comes on the weekends.
Probably once a month.
So you're thinking right in here.
Yeah, right. Because it goes right here from thick and like swamp-like.
Yeah.
So right here, this patch of woods looks thick right here.
Oh,
but once you get up here and you look, it's super open.
Yeah, you can see in there once
Well, they do have a posted. They do have
no, we're friends with these guys.
Oh. Okay.
Like you can see right here, like through there, it looks open. And
Oh, I see what you're saying. Up in the woods behind.
Yeah. And I've always, hunting up through here when we hunt these woods, I'm always highly freaked out. Something about going through this area really just...
Has a high spook factor, huh?
Yes, very high spook factor.
Yeah.
And and then up in our driveway by the house, when you drive in, we'll show you.
the same night that I saw this,
we
we
had
come
all
back
left.
home and there's a tree broken over.
That just broken
like
over
that sound like we left and we come back and the tree snapped in our driveway.
and you'll see it's a very healthy tree, and it was just weird.
Oh,
so we
good.
left it. I'm like, don't touch it. I want this guy to see it.
Yeah. No, we'll look at it because there's a slim possibility we might be able to find some hairs on it,
Right.
possibly.
This is a really, like, because I just felt it. It was just really odd phenomenon of all of a sudden a tree broken, and it sits back a little bit. So there and
it's
nothing
broken
is
like pretty high up.
high
Okay,
up.
I'm going to ask you guys: have you guys ever heard a whistle like somebody whistling to their dog when you're around
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
and you couldn't
Right,
place what
yeah.
did it?
Because I spend like during hunting
Oh, yeah.
season, there's not a day I'm not out in the woods.
Yeah.
Well, you heard like a whistle, like a person whistling, but
Yeah.
I heard that today,
what?
this morning.
Did you?
Yeah.
Like somebody whistling to their dog?
Yeah.
And Roddy's been going crazy
Yeah,
at the
he
woods.
has-
Right.
And
we have a
he-
dog and he'll
he
stand
keeps
tail up,
smelling. He
like
keeps,
nose in the
like-
air, just looking.
He keeps smelling like there's something, and it's an odd. I've never seen him do what he. Like,
What type of dog is it?
pit bull.
Huh.
And he's just smelling like he don't know what it is.
That's fascinating.
Oh.
Like at nighttime when I let him in, he'll
That's
act.
weird that you just said that, because I was like, this morning I was hearing it. So we started out back on the trail. We started clearing some property to build a garage,
Right?
and ever since we started clearing, I've felt weird about it. I don't
Have
know.
you guys ever heard what sounds like either? I mean, you probably get gunshots down here, but like rock knocking, tree knocking, like somebody bashing a stick up against a tree.
I have
Ever had-
that in my house a lot. It sounds
He
like
lives
someone
right
banging.
on the power line,
Sounds like someone
and there's a
hit the
stream that
hammer all
runs
the
in
time.
front and out back.
Yes. You live right on the power line.
Yeah.
In Frankfurt.
Wow, fascinating. Well, what you guys are telling me is classic behavior. But like I said,
I know him, and I know, like, by the look of it, like, he looks normal now. When he came in the house, I'm not even kidding, like, his eyes were huge
right.
and popped. Like,
Well, I saw him get goosebumps the minute I first
Right.
met him there. He
Yeah,
was
no,
like, the goosebumps came right up on your arm. You can't fake that.
you can't,
No, like
he
I've
can't
walked these
shake
woods
it.
by myself for years, no problem. Walked miles through these woods down to the brook to fish.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Well, you're
He
a
doesn't know
Mainer,
what
right?
it
That's
is.
what Mainers do.
Right. But that put a whole different, fear in me. No, I don't want to say fear, but like
Well, yeah,
feeling.
it's up to you.
Right,
I
right.
was scared.
Right.
You wouldn't even want to leave my side for a good 2 hours.
Well, no, I mean when you see something, and
I was
especially
just trying to figure out, like, is it that really what I saw? Like
one that large.
I don't know.
standing
The
around
noises I
here,
hear, too, at
it
night
had to be just
sometimes.
yeah, because this branch you can see from our driveway.
Right.
These branches, and it was just about as tall as it, if not taller.
Tall as what now?
These branches.
Up there.
Right, and like that branch right there, you can see from our driveway, hanging over.
Right.
It was easily just as tall, if not taller.
Wow. And so it walked about the center of the road, and then
come out to like here. By the time I got to the middle of the road, and it turned at me, and then kind of walked off back into the woods. Oh
wow.
man, I'm getting goosebumps again.
That is really cool.
Yeah, I'm not saying it wasn't. It just put a whole different feeling of fear.
Well, because you're encountering something, like I said, you don't have.
Right.
We have boxes for cows and moose and deer. You don't have a box for a giant furry
Right.
human.
Right.
You don't have a box for that,
Right.
So your mind struggles, like, what do I do with, and you can't process it. No, I know exactly what
This
you're.
spring, the pipeline crosses the road down here, which follows right here. And we've gone through there a few times, and I drove by one day, and on the left side, I'm like, whoa, that looked like a moose, like big
Yeah.
and dark. But
And there's not a lot of moose around here.
No.
But-
Once in a while.
I've seen.
I
I've
go
seen
looking for
two
moose
in my
tracks,
entire life.
so I'm like, what the hell have I seen? And then I saw it once on this outside and like passing, and then it's gone when I go back and look.
Right, right.
So when he came and told me that, I'm like, ooh.
What were you saying?
I seen 2 moose the whole time I've been here, and they've both been in my car.
Yeah, no, I've seen moose here, but they're extremely.
Right.
This is not an area known for moose.
No, not like that. But
So it could have come out of right here somewhere.
Right.
Is probably what you're thinking, huh?
Right.
Because there's a swamp there. I mean, it could have walked through the swamp, but
That's what I was thinking. Yes.
huh?
See, this is where we thought maybe if you could see like tracks.
Right. That's.
It'd be a perfect spot to leave them because it's all muddy here.
Right.
I mean, something that big would have left.
Oh yeah.
Again, when we were walking out in the pipeline one day, I said to my son, I'm like, Bobby, there's a huge track right here. It looks like a big footprint. And he's like, no, that was mine. And I'm like, this is too big for your footprint. Like I don't know, I just passed along thinking, okay, well, maybe it was, maybe you slipped, but it looked like a footprint. I didn't
Well,
see
no,
toes,
because-
but I saw the imprint. It was weird.
So what is that? That's got to be what, 300 feet maybe, 200-300 feet. So when did you first notice this tree being broken?
Right after you had a sighting, when we left, we came back a couple hours later, and it was like that. And nobody was home at all.
And not only that, but we've not really. Today it's kind of windy, but the last couple of days it's been stifling hot and like no air, no wind.
And like if you look even
It's a
over
healthy
here,
tree.
You can tell that it wasn't an unhealthy tree.
and
like
look how
the
it
color of
snapped
the wood.
over here. You'll see.
Yeah. Well, that is a weak spot in the tree. It makes sense
Yeah.
that it would break there, but
Right.
it doesn't make much sense that it would just. I mean, here's the thing that I've made videos about in the past. Like, if you hadn't seen a Sasquatch and you guys came home and that tree was there, you wouldn't think anything of it.
No.
But the fact that you saw a Sasquatch and then the next day you come home.
It was the
just-
same day.
It was yeah.
It was that night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It
a
was,
couple hours after we left, and come back a couple hours later, and
and it was like this.
Wow. Yeah, because there's a lot of debate amongst the Bigfoot people as to whether or not, like, there's a group of people that believe Sasquatches, and it would make sense, are manipulating trees by, they call them tree breaks, obviously. This would be the correct size, because if you were 10 feet tall,
Right.
you'd probably be grabbing onto it up in here somewheres.
Right. But what would the purpose? Why would they do something of that? Like to say, yeah, you saw me.
You know, your guess is as good as mine, but that's probably, I mean,
That was me.
it seems like that they, okay, so there's a couple things about these things. On top of the fact that they're really strange and they're not like deer and raccoons and shit like that, they're not a regular animal. They seem to be really curious about us. They don't seem to ever want to harm a person. Like you said, you had rocks thrown at you, but the rocks didn't hit you, did they?
No.
Yeah. So, like, I think if they wanted to throw a rock at, I mean, something 10 feet tall
right.
would take a 50-pound rock and just squish you like a bug if it wanted to.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
not what they're trying to do. And why do they drive people out of the woods? I don't know. I don't even know if that behavior is designed to drive you out of the woods, or is it,
There's
like you
just-
said,
It's our sense, I think, that freaks us out.
It's the flight or fight reflex.
right? We get freaked out, but now are they trying to freak us out, or are they just trying to say, "Hey, I'm over here"?
Communication, I think.
Right.
Because they don't know how to communicate with us.
So you saw it. It saw you. It knows that you
Right.
saw it. Maybe it just came up and said, "Yeah, you actually did see this thing
how
here.
I felt.
Here I am. You know, I live here too." Or
And I mean, this
Something.
has always been like a coyotes have always crossed right here. You can see right here, but that trail
But
comes
it's a
in.
pretty,
oh yeah, you can, can't you?
and that goes right behind my trailer.
That comes out.
The trailer goes up in.
I see that.
And it was this morning, so I brought my girls to school, and I came back and they were all
Right here is
sleeping.
quite wide.
I'm laying in the bed and I heard the whistling.
You heard that?
Yes.
Just like that, right?
Like 4 or
But
5
louder.
times. Yeah.
4 or 5
4 or 5
times.
times. And then I was like,
We were all
I got
asleep.
creeped out because everybody was sleeping and the dog's still inside.
I noticed when I asked you about that, it kind of shook you a little bit.
Well, yeah, because it made me think like, nobody's awake. Nobody, like, who's whistling?
Yeah. No, the first time I heard that whistle, I was up by Carr Pond, way up in the middle of nowhere in paper company land. We had done some tree knocks. It was like midnight, and we heard. I didn't hear, but the other guy heard. We're driving out in the Jeep, and he says, "I just heard a tree knock." So we bailed out of the Jeep. We come around the corner of the Jeep, and we're looking down into this thick ass woods. No way in heck there's a human down in there. And I hear, and the hair went up the back of my neck, and he says, "Is that a bird?" And I go, "That doesn't sound like any bird." I said, "That sounds like a person that just whistled at us." You know?
Well, sometimes the screeches that I hear at night.
We just always
It's
explain to them as
between an
bobcats because
owl,
we've seen bobcats
bobcat.
hunting, and cross the road, but
Between a moose and an owl. Like, it's a weird, high-pitched, but like, I can't even make the noise.
In behind your house.
Yeah, like it comes from out in the woods.
Yeah.
And that's the pipeline goes right
yeah,
up
we have a
behind.
trail that goes right to the pipeline.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Right at the opening, we have a big enclosed hunting stand.
Yeah. And that's in that area where the mud holes are is where I saw the prints.
We'll have to go there and check
Yeah.
that out too. That I know of that's had baby Sasquatch tracks, but I'll tell you what, it does look like little tiny toes. Huh. It's definitely not a deer track because there's no hoof mark.
Coyote tracks right here, as you say that.
There's another small one there. Does it look like this one?
No, there's coyote tracks right here.
Oh, coyote tracks. Yeah, that's kind of odd. It's like a child has walked through here. I don't know where the next track would have been at. Of course, no. Yeah, he's gone through there. So when you had the rocks thrown at you, what was like your initial thought?
I initially thought it was just them sliding down the hill.
Oh, you didn't think something was throwing rocks?
No, until it happened the second time while I was there.
So like you actually saw the rock flying through the air, or?
It come hurtling down the hill.
No shit.
It's the river is a big valley.
Yeah.
This.
Was that over in this direction?
Nope, it's in Frankfort.
Oh, Frankfurt. So did you think some kids or something were throwing rocks at you, or?
No, it was way too big. I thought
The rock was too big?
Yeah.
How big do you think the rock was?
It's probably about that big.
What?
I thought
So you're talking like 100-pound rock?
Yeah, I thought it had rolled down the hill.
Oh my gosh. So there was 2 rocks that came down. How close were the rocks to you?
Probably about 50 feet.
So too close for comfort, huh?
Yeah.
How far you feel like going?
How was the first rock a large rock as well?
The first rock wasn't, it was probably half size.
So
the
maybe
first
50 pounds, huh?
Yeah. It was still too big. I felt someone throw it.
And so when the second rock came down, what was your thought then?
To go home. I packed up and I got out.
Like you were saying, people messing with him. Where he lives out in Frankfort, there's no one that would,
Yeah, I live out in the middle of nowhere there.
Well, a person wouldn't be able to throw a 100-pound rock anyways, right? I mean, I suppose you could roll it down the hill, but was it rolling down the hill, or was it actually arcing through the air?
It was skipping.
Huh.
It bounced off the ground.
Very interesting. How far? I know Frankfurt's right next door here. How far about from here?
probably a 20-minute drive to his house.
No, but I mean, how many miles?
Mile-wise?
You know, as the crow flies.
Bobby, where it crossed is somewhere in here. To the
Whoa.
road.
Lots of wood frog tadpoles. Oh, that's interesting. That's pretty fresh, isn't it?
Right. It's a little, but
Look how long it is, though.
yeah. Long and thin.
That's kind of odd.
Yeah, that definitely
And that's super
is.
fresh, man.
What is it?
A very narrow.
It might have slid like that though.
Yeah, it could, but it's still really narrow. And that's super fresh. The mud hasn't even dried up at all.
Weird.
But there's only one. Where the hell did the other one go to?
Right.
Right.
So that thing would have crossed this pipeline in order to cross the road, right?
And then so probably up a little further you can see, if you take a left in the woods is where he had his pipe.
Bobby, where did we just see that footprint?
I can bring the map up and show you.
Well, if you want, continue walking this way, and this will take us right to the road.
Where was that little footprint?
Where was the bear you guys saw? Way down at the other end here?
Yeah, up on that.
Up on that hill.
Well, you can't really see it because of all the trees going in, but that goes probably 600 yards and it's a hill.
Oh, I can tell it's a hill.
Yeah, you can kind of see.
It is overgrown, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what was it, up on the hill part?
Yeah.
Yeah, like right.
Okay, so you and your buddy here were coyote hunting on the pipeline,
Yes.
and you said you saw what you thought was a bear?
Yeah. And it was a couple hundred yards away, probably. Probably a good 450, 500 yards. Because right up here is the biggest, longest stretch of pipeline that we have right here.
Mhm.
Like that's why we put our deer stand up here, is because you can see forever. and we were just sitting there, and you could see it because there's a hill, and that's what makes it so you can't see. And it was just like toward the top of the hill, and it come out and it crossed, and I don't know.
Was it on all fours?
It didn't look like
didn't
it.
look like it.
It looked like it was on walking upright.
Yeah.
Yeah, it come out of the woods and then it like.
Didn't you think it was kind of odd for a bear to be walking upright?
They said that when they came in, but that was before he had seen this.
Right.
So like,
We
So they told you it was a bear walking upright.
Yeah.
Well, I've always been a believer
Uh-huh.
in
But
Bigfoot.
we were
and
hunting,
stuff like
we
this.
had cowls going, we had bait, we didn't think nothing of it.
Ah, you were using predator calls?
Yeah.
But yeah, we made it to like right here.
And we
something
really
just
could use
went
some rain.
from down there, and you could just see the bushes moving as it.
Oh
went
no
up.
shit! You could so you didn't see the thing, but you saw
No,
the.
like that pine tree right there by the edge was shaking, like it pushed it, like running up that.
All right, let's go
hill.
over there and look, see maybe if there's any tracks there.
Right, that's what I was thinking.
So you caught trout right here, huh?
Yeah. They'll hide right here off this point.
Good spot for them.
It's not bad. Another spot's that point and up there.
Oh my God, this tar is.
I know.
Now I got tar on my. So this was last night that you guys were hanging out down here. What, fishing?
Yeah, no, we just rode our bikes down.
Oh. And so whatever it was must have been down in there.
Down in the stream, and then it come running right up through.
Oh, so it was at the stream,
Right.
came up past that pine tree,
Right.
and wiggled the pine tree.
Yeah, it was more of a way for food.
It was more than a wiggle.
It was over here. To the left now.
These trees pretty stop even walking.
Right. It was like through here.
Where's the pine tree that was wiggling?
That one.
These trees were
This tree?
like, my guess is it come through here, and it's down by the stream. Because when we got to that bridge, all like this little pine, all of these were moving.
Those are pretty good sized trees to
Yeah,
be
it
wiggling.
was crashing.
Holy shit. So it was something big.
Oh yeah. My first guess was, oh, it's just a deer coming down to the bridge. What?
Yeah, but a deer wouldn't be moving giant.
Right.
I see some crawdad holes. Bunch of crawdad holes. Actually, some of those might be, that might be a muskrat hole right there. It's bigger than a,
I mean, it looks like a trail goes right down.
God, look at all the critter tracks on the other side over there.
Yeah, it come right from the stream, whatever it was, just crashing up through the woods.
Pretty cool.